Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Levi Colwill sends a message of intent for next season's plans. We also have some updates regarding Nicolas Jackson, João Félix, Badiashile, Carney, Robert Sanchez, a list of players going on loan this summer, and a message directly from Tod Boehly. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. Kicking things off, News Arkansas has reported that Levi Colwill says Chelsea's Club World Cup win proves that they are ready to win the Premier League or Champions League as soon as next season. He goes on to say, "We're a team and that's the Chelsea identity. You stick together no matter what. Players like John Terry, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, they started that and we're carrying it on. They're all amazing players. The best players who won the lot, but we've got the best players in our team. Young players for sure, and that's our plan, to win the biggest trophies for Chelsea." I absolutely love this from Levi Colwill. It's the entire squad right now. Reece James, Enzo Fernandez, Colwill, every single player is coming out with this monster winning Chelsea mentality, the identity, the DNA. It's in our DNA to go and win trophies. Chelsea are the first team in football history to win the entire collection. The entire collection, and you actually have to deep it for a second. The entire collection. If a new trophy or a new competition's out, Chelsea go win it. Now, you could argue, players aren't going to, or certain clubs aren't going to be in the Conference League, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. If Chelsea are in a competition or they're in a tournament, they want to win it because we can add it to our ever-growing trophy list and our trophy room. It is full. You can go through and it's essentially, do you want to see every single trophy? Come to our trophy cabinet. You can see them all there with our name engraved on it. And this is incredible. We spoke about this yesterday, about the mentality. We spoke about this recently, about Chelsea's mentality, how it's growing, how it's getting better, the togetherness of the squad. When you've got Colwill coming out saying things like this, we want the Premier League or the Champions League next season, unbelievable. What a shift from just 6 months ago across to December when we were going through a tough patch of, we're young, we're inconsistent, we're just taking it one game at a time, we're going to try and get top 4. Now it's, we want to take over the world. We are world champions and we want the lot. Something has changed. It is all clicked. It has fallen into place and it is a beautiful thing to be seeing again. For anyone who's been supporting Chelsea for at least, 10, 15 years, maybe just under, you will understand the identity of Chelsea. Now, for myself, it's been 25-ish years that I've been supporting this club. Very lucky to be born in an era where we were just getting good and then went through our golden era of winning everything. And it looks like after this ownership change and all the mess of the last few seasons, we have set the foundations and starting to step on that ladder of going back into another golden era of winning everything. And I'm here for it. This is Chelsea's identity. It started with Roman Abramovich and the revolution of what happened there with the managers and the trophies and the players coming in and out and the fighting spirit and the mentality to win everything. And it's not left. Yes, we may have had a few seasons where the ownership was changed, regardless of what your views on that in terms of the political side of it or just in general, right? It happened, we had to deal with it. A lot of people said that Chelsea died that day, and fair enough, I hear it. We went through some turmoil, went through an emotional roller coaster, but this season is the season we've got back on track and we are climbing again. It is so nice to see the pain and suffering that fans, the players, the manager, the whole club has gone through in the last few seasons while we had to stabilise things. It's been unbelievable. Been unbelievable to finish this season with Maresca securing Champions League again, which is somewhere we haven't been for a few years and we deserve to be because that's what Chelsea do. We play in the biggest competitions. To win the Conference League, a competition no one wanted us in. We didn't want to be in it, but we still only played who's in front of us. We respected our opposition. We collected the trophy. And then to go on and win the Club World Cup in the emphatic fashion that we did. We are back. It's official. And when Colwell's coming out saying things like this, it gets me riled up. I want the season to start tomorrow, which I know is unfair. Obviously, the players do need a rest. They've well-earned holiday, well-earned rest for sure. I'm so excited for the next season, and I hope you guys are as well, because we've got Esteval coming in. We've also got Gittins that's going to be playing. We haven't even seen these players. Look how good we are without those currently. Look at the impact of João Pedro. Look at the impact of Delap being in that squad. There are so many players playing at such a high level now that if we are consistent, or at least 15 to 20% more consistent than we were last season, everything changes. And I honestly feel like we're in such a strong position. Do I think we're going to win the Premier League? I think it's way too early to tell. Way too early to tell. We're going to win the Champions League? It's way too early to tell. But one thing I've always said to you guys is I'm a positive and optimistic and a fair fan. And I always think Chelsea can go into a game and win. Before a ball is kicked, yes, we're going to win. because until the ball is kicked, you don't know how the game's going to play out. Now, I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below about what has changed the Chelsea mentality, the team, the togetherness. Is it the time together? Is it buying into Maresca's system? Is it the rugby coach that we hired, which we all laughed at, hands up, we all laughed at, bringing into changing mentality? Is it a massive shift that he has brought into this the Chelsea culture? Is it an amalgamation of all of it? I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on everything mentality-wise, also what Colwill said, and also, where do you think Chelsea will finish in the Premier League next season? Can we go on and win it? Can we win the Champions League? Do we get domestic cups? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Foot Mercato have reported that Enzo Maresca has made it clear that Badiashile is part of his project and that he is counting on him for the upcoming new season. This is an unbelievable redemption arc, and I'll hold my hands up. I've been very, very critical of Badiashile this past season, but I've also been fair and given him credit and his flowers when it is due. This guy's improved massively. It was clearly just an injury blip and a confidence thing for him, because he's been solid every time he's come on and had to do a job, do a role for Chelsea under Enzo Maresca, and especially in the second half of the season. He's been fantastic, and I was one of the fans calling to be sold. It's like, get rid of him. Don't want to see him and Sanchez. And what a redemption arc for both of them this season. Goes to show that football fans are fickle, and we change our minds all the time, and that's perfectly fine. We're human. We're allowed to change our opinions. But it also goes to show what Maresca is doing to this team and bringing the best out of players. I am actually really happy for Badiashile now, which is the weirdest thing to be saying considering what I said 6 months ago. I hear it, right? I can already hear you in the comments. I get it, right? I despised the bloke. Now I'm like, do you know what? He can actually do a job. He's very solid. He can still improve and go on. His partner in crime, though, Disasi, we can offload him. Yeah, bye. See you later. He's just clearly not part of the plans, right? But Badiashile has basically done what Cucurella did to me last year, where I thought he was awful and terrible, and then all of a sudden he's turned, I say all of a sudden, the last 12 plus months he's been in the form of his life, and he's the best left back in the world, and I absolutely love Cucurella now. He's so integral to how we play. So look, I'm actually really happy. There's also reports from Badiashile as well, which I couldn't find today. I did see it when I was scrolling late last night, that he basically said, I will be at Chelsea next season. Even he's like, I'm a Chelsea player, I'm under contract, and I will be here next season, which is a massive difference to what was said back in January, where he said, I don't know what my future holds. I may be at Chelsea next season. I might be open to a move away, because he was basically unsure what was happening. But now, Maresca's like, you're part of my squad for next season. And honestly, Maresca is building something special. We can all start to see it now. We can all see what he's building, because we're getting the results on the pitch, and we're seeing how together this team is and how everyone can do their job and do their role. Super proud of this team. I'm still high in the clouds from the Club World Cup win, and we all should be, man. We all should be. 4 years we've got to enjoy this, and we've got a big break, or a 3-4 week break before the start of the season, so let's just enjoy it as much as we can, because the ups and downs of the next season are on the horizon, and we are excited and looking forward to it. But I'm super happy for Badiashile, and I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Were you like me? Did you write off Badiashile earlier in the season? Are you still not a fan of Badiashile? Or can you at least see the fact that he has improved and he has had some very solid performances when he is being called upon? Whether it is the Conference League, whether it's a substitute appearance against Liverpool, or a substitute appearance in the Premier League, or wherever it may be, the Club World Cup, where he's come in and done the job to a very high standard, which, to be honest, I was not expecting, and I'm very happy that he has improved. What are your thoughts on Badiashile staying at Chelsea? Are you happy with that? Would you still look to sell him this summer? Very curious to know your thoughts. Mr. Dom Smith have reported that João Félix is in talks over a move to Benfica as Chelsea prepare to step up plans for a summer squad clear-out. Ebola have also reported that Benfica are continuing talks with Chelsea over a permanent deal for João Félix, with the Blues unwilling to sanction a loan move for the 25-year-old. One, it blows my mind that João Félix is 25 years old, because he's one of those players that's just been around forever, and you forget that he's still a young player, really, or coming into that sort of mid-20s era, where he's got the experience, he's bounced around Europe. I kind of feel sorry for Felix. We spoke about him many, many times. I wanted him to do well at Chelsea, but it's very clear that he's going to be leaving Chelsea. Chelsea want a sale. They want a sale. The interesting thing about this is, how much are we going to get for João Félix? If we're selling him back to a club like Benfica, this is no disrespect to them, but they don't have mountains of money. They're not going to be spending 40, 50 million euros on João Félix. We can clearly see that that's going to be the case. But what are Chelsea going to be willing to ask for, willing to settle on? Whether it is over a course of a few years in instalments, whether it's up front, whatever it may be. It's very clear that Chelsea don't want a loan move, and I back that. If you want to get rid of the guy, just get rid of the guy. We loaned him in January. That loan spell wasn't very successful in the grand scheme of things. He's come back. We are looking to offload him. It was genuinely a PSR swap deal last year. Doesn't fit into Maresca's plans. Unfortunately, it's not worked out for him. I do like him as a player, but it's not worked out for him. How much do you think that Benfica are willing to pay? How much do you think they can afford to pay? There were some rumours floating around a few weeks ago of around 25 million euros. I personally think that 35 million euros would probably be a fair price. Yes, we will probably lose a little bit of money on him. Maybe not on the amortization side of things, but in terms of what the player's worth is a bit more. I think he is worth about 45 million in today's market. However, Benfica can't afford it. I can't stretch to it by the looks of things financially. I could be wrong. Willing to hold my hands up if I am wrong. But it looks like that's something that they can't stretch to currently. But there's also that emotional side of, Felix and Benfica. So maybe he's willing to reduce his wages to go back. Or maybe Chelsea are willing to let him go for a little less just to get him off the books and get this saga closed. Get him off the books, job done, we can move on. Because we have a very, very long list of players that we need to offload. And I feel like what we've noticed in the last weeks is a lot of leagues around the world just don't have the amount of cash that Premier League does when it comes to buying players, which is why they want to sell high and buy very cheaply. And if Chelsea want to make profit, I still think there's a big margin to making profit on the players we have available to sell, but I feel like we are going to have to make some compromises, not entirely all the way through the list, but some compromises here and there, depending on what clubs we are selling to. I still think we'll make a profit on these players. But I just want to know what you guys think down below regarding João Félix. He's 2 times at Chelsea, one as a loan spell, one as his permanent, which is basically a loan because we only had him for a few months. What are your overall thoughts? Are you sad that it didn't work out for Felix? Are you happy to see the back of him? Do you wonder why we bought him in the first place? I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below in the comments. S. Johnson Sport has reported that Borussia Dortmund are keen to re-sign Carney on loan with an option to buy, but Chelsea prefer a straight sale. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this. We spoke about Carney a few times. We think he's a great player. Realistically, he's not going to be breaking into this midfield that we currently have. The writing's been on the wall that he's going to be sold this summer. And I went over the emotional roller coaster and the rough ride he's had in a Chelsea shirt, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, the game's the game. It happens to footballers, unfortunately. Same with Ugachukwu and same with a couple of others. He was on loan at Dortmund. Dortmund really like him. But again, Dortmund don't seem to have the money or not willing to pay the money that we want, which is 40 million euros. That's his release clause. Dortmund want another loan with an option to buy. Now, if you're going to do that, the option to buy is normally a little bit lower than the release clause. But I'm pretty sure that was the option the season just gone, where you loan him out for a season with an option to buy, and it seems like they may have turned it down. I could be wrong on that. Please let me know in the comments if I am wrong. I thought it was something along those lines. Might have just been a straight season loan. Fair enough either way. He's had a good loan spell. Dortmund really like him. They want to buy him. And he's played well. I'm genuinely happy for Chukwuemeka. He's going to be a fantastic player, and I want him to be playing football. If he's not going to be at Chelsea, and he's not in the Premier League, cool. Do you know what I mean? If he plays in the Premier League, it's a bit different because you just don't want your players to play very well against you. The problem is with a club like Chelsea, we buy and sell so many players that we always seem to be playing a former player at some point during the season. But again, very curious to see how this plans out. I'm hoping that we don't just loan him out for another season because you're longing out the inevitable. But at the same time, I don't want Chelsea to shoot themselves in the foot and say that we'll do it for 25, 30 million when his release clause is 40. We've just given Dortmund around 50 million just over for Gittins. So we know they've got the money. Do you know what I mean? We've just given them 50 million for a player. So for them to give us 40 million back, or I don't know, 38 million flat fee and a 3 million, 4 million in add-ons, whatever they want to do, or whether it's installments. How much do you think the Dortmund are willing to pay for Chukwuemeka? Do you think they're just trying to be clever, try and get him as low as amount, or just try and get as much of his services for free? Because essentially what a loan is, they pay his wages, which isn't a lot, but they don't have to pay that transfer fee, so they can save funds for next season. Or do you think we should just kind of be brutal with him and say, look, if you want him, buy him. If you don't, we'll sell him to someone else. Because at the moment, Dortmund seem to be the red-hot favourites to get Chukwuemeka. I don't see a lot of other interest from other clubs that's being reported currently that are coming in for him. And I think Dortmund would be a very good place for him to stay because he's playing well, he's settled in there, he seems to get on well with everyone there. I think that if Chelsea could get, say, 38 million plus add-ons, that's an absolute deal. His release clause is 40, but I feel like Chelsea can budge on that a little bit. Like I said, as long as Chelsea don't shoot themselves in the foot. There is an argument that people have in the comments, and I totally agree, I hear it, that we shouldn't be selling our players for less for the sake of getting rid of them. I hear it. But like I said in the previous section, like if clubs haven't got the money, and we're demanding a lot, and inevitably we dig our heels in, and we don't get rid of these players, we have just got a surplus of requirements, a long double-digit list of players we want to get rid of. So there has to be some compromise somewhere. There has to be some compromise somewhere. So I want to know what you guys think regarding Dortmund, Chukwuemeka. Do we give him on loan for another season and then with an option to buy, like an obligation to buy next season? And then do maybe like a Jadon Sancho deal where there is a fine if they don't buy him at the end of next season, but more than 5 million, I don't know, raise it to like 15 million or something. Something that's going to make them go, ooh, we do want to buy this player. We've been umming and ahhing about it for 2 seasons now. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. S. Johnson Sport has also reported that Chelsea players that are being earmarked for a loan to Strasbourg are Kendry Páez, Aaron Anselmino and Mike Penders. I think that's a really good move. You're keeping them within the Blue Coast system. They're going to definitely go on a development season. I'm really curious to see how good Aaron Anselmino is in a Chelsea shirt, because he was hyped up to be another one of those South American gems, bought him from Boca Juniors. There was a big deal their side about it, like we don't want to let him go, he's fantastic. And we've not even seen him play. We've not seen him play. He's just been training in and around the first team, which is good experience because we've just gone and become world champions, right? Unbelievable to see that and be part of that club. And of course, the goal for these players is because they're so extremely young and they've already got a very high ceiling and very good skill level already, is we send them on a few development seasons, they come back and they're absolute world beaters, they slot back into our team that's currently ticking and firing on all cylinders. I think it really works very well. We're in a very, very good position, and it's now making a lot more sense compared to what sense we had and vision we had a few years ago. That's for sure. Kendry Páez is kind of, I think it splits, and Mike Penders as well, it kind of splits the fan base a little bit because we want to see how good they are now. We know they're good enough to play, but I do think that it makes a lot of sense with the squad we have, the run we've been on, the form we're in, the injection of key players in key areas we've brought in this summer so far. These 3 players going on loan to Strasbourg means they're still under our circuit. We can't, not that we control what they do, but they are with our sister club. They're massive signings for Strasbourg, who have just lost André Santos and Petrovic. So you've got another goalkeeper who's got a lot more potential as well. Aaron Anselmino is a good centre-back because we bought Mamadou Sarr, and Kendry Páez, who can also play sort of them anywhere in that attacking role freely within the midfield as well. So I think like we're just replacing what we've taken from Strasbourg. And again, I kind of feel for Strasbourg fans. They can't really get attached to too many players because Chelsea are just going to go, thank you very much. Don't worry, we'll give you another wonder kid that you can go develop for us. But it's also exciting to be a Strasbourg fan to know that you're going to have a constant wave of players coming in that are meant to be unbelievable, and you get to see them develop in real time across the season. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about these 3 earmarked loan options to Strasbourg. Do you think this is a good move? Now, a lot of you guys did let me know in the comments when it comes to the Mugu sale to Strasbourg that we need to free up some spaces and loan spots and UEFA spots. There's only so many we can have, which I was totally unaware of. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So, with these 3 going on loan, that does fill 3 spots, and I think we can only have 5 or 6. So it'd be very interesting. We've basically half filled or just overfilled what our capacity of loaning in one season. It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out in terms of who the other 2 spots are, or 2 or 3 spots for however we're allowed, where it is 5 or 6. And that means kind of solidifies who's actually going to be sold. But I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions down below about these 3 going on loan to Strasbourg. Do you think it's a good move, or would you like to have seen them stay at Stamford Bridge for this season coming up? Sky Carver have reported that Robert Sanchez will fight it out for the number 1 shirt with Philip Jorgensen next season, and Chelsea are unlikely to sign a goalkeeper this summer. Do you know what? After that final performance, I don't blame them, because wow, Robert Sanchez turned into prime Neuer. Unbelievable. Prime Czech. Prime Yashin. And if he performs like that consistently, do you know, if he even performs like that, like 70% of the ability he did on that day consistently, it's a long day for the opposition next season. Because where has that Robert Sanchez been? Where has he been? Because we've seen glimpses here and there, but he always seems to let himself down with decision making or poor positioning or distribution, or a mistake that he causes. And over the season he has got better. Now we have to be realistic, we have to be fair, we have to give him flowers where it's due. This guy has improved consistently since the start of 2025. He really has. He's got better and better and better. For the last few months he's been really, really good. Really good. And it's hard to kind of show that to the Chelsea fans who have washed their hands with him and they're done. And look, I hold my hands up. I've been wanting Sanchez out for the longest time. I really, really have. And I'm still on the fence about having him as a number 1, because I don't know, it's going to take a lot to build that trust, but he's done very well so far to kind of show me the signs that he can go on and be a very good keeper on a consistent basis if he starts showing what he was doing in the final a little bit more consistently in the Premier League. Then yeah, okay, cool, I'll back it, because I've seen the ultimate Robert Sanchez performance at that Club World Cup final. I think, okay, cool, if that's what we're in for, I can get behind that. I can get behind that as long as it's consistent, or at least a lot more consistent than what it was last season. So, again, we're allowed to change our opinions, but there's a lot of the fan base that want him gone regardless. They're like, yeah, great performance, don't care, sell him. And I get it. There are some people, and myself included sometimes, that you kind of latch onto something and it's like, I don't care, this is just how I passionately feel about this one thing. And I get it. But like I said earlier in the video, football fans can be fickle and we are allowed to change our opinions. For me, it's been Cucurella, it's been Badiashile, and it's been Sanchez. And I'm happy to own those. Cucurella, yeah, that was a long time ago. I wasn't even making content about Chelsea back then, but it was something I would be very verbal about, very passionate about, of like, I just don't see it working. And it has. And I'll eat my egg on my face in that term of regard, and I'm quite happy to own it. And again, Sanchez is slowly turning me around with these performances in the last few months, and it's not gone unnoticed. And I have given him credit and flowers where it's due. People are still telling me he's not good enough. Hopefully that Club World Cup final does sway people a little bit more of like, oh, okay, this is what he can do. Can he do it more consistently? I would still like Chelsea to have that third choice keeper. And it's not because I don't trust Sanchez or Jorgensen. I think, again, they're both very good. They just need to be able to do it consistently. And I think it's just a consistent basis, right? Because we know they have the skill level and we've seen the attributes that they both have, whether it's shot stopping or distribution, etc. But just if one thing happens to either of them, touch wood that it doesn't, just having that third keeper is just a bit of peace of mind. It's a bit of extra security that we've got someone else in that rotation who's either going to be learning on the job, or if absolute must needs, they can do a job for us when needed. But just to have the two, I don't know, it just makes me feel a bit weird because a lot of clubs don't just have two keepers, they have three as a minimum. So who knows? But it looks like Chelsea will not be going in for a new keeper this summer, which is a shame because we were linked with Mike Maignan and there's a lot of other like Colwill and Diogo Costa that are still available, or you know, Donnarumma, he needs a contract extension. So look, there's a lot of keepers out there that are very, very high standard that are available if needed. But it looks like Chelsea are going to be more than happy with Sanchez. And do you know what? Again, credit to the board for sitting on their laurels and saying, nope, he's going to be incredible. You just have to sit and wait. And we all laughed and laughed and laughed. But like I said, that final was a glimpse in terms of what he can do. And if he can do it more consistently, it is a long day for the opposition next season. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Has Robert Sanchez changed your mind in recent months? Can you admit that he has improved massively? Or have you always backed Sanchez? Let me know your comments down below, your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm very curious to know your thoughts. Like I said, I've not been Sanchez's biggest fan this season, but I am fair and I've given the flowers over the season where he has improved. And he's starting, not completely, but he's starting to turn me into a bit of a fan where I think, do you know what, we can back him. Not yet. There's still a long way to go for him to build that trust, but seeing the potential, it's exciting. Sky Carver has reported there continues to be interest in Nicolas Jackson from multiple clubs, especially as strikers are in demand and short supply this summer. At the moment, Jackson is staying, but that is not guaranteed to be the case by the time the window closes. And Sky Sports Sheath has reported pretty much the same thing with a few variations, that many clubs are keeping an eye on Nicolas Jackson's situation at Chelsea. And Manchester United are among them. We spoke about that yesterday and you guys very much let me know your thoughts about it and I appreciate it. Unai Emery is a long-term admirer, gave him his debut at Villarreal, and AC Milan are keen, but there's a gap in valuation. Now, this is very interesting. For me personally, I feel like Jackson will be sold in this summer window. The writing seems to be on the wall. There is a long day for him to crawl his way back into that starting 11. He's not a needle mover. He's not a level raiser or bar raiser for Chelsea. We know this. We've backed him for the last couple of seasons. We've shown our frustrations. We've shown our happy side of things, sad side of things. When things have gone, it's been very up and down with Nicolas Jackson. And again, based on sort of his output and the things he says on socials and his lack of discipline and his immaturity at times, Chelsea are done with him, and that's fair enough. I totally hear it. I would love to have seen Jackson work out. There is still a chance, obviously, based on the reports that, you know, at the moment he is staying. He's not untouchable, but it looks like he is until a club comes in for him. There are a number of clubs that are interested in him. It's just the valuation. Chelsea said we want 100 mil for this striker. That's what he's going to be worth. Obviously, we're not going to get that. They said that he can go for 60 million though. He can go for 60 million. Now, AC Milan are not going to pay that. They love him. They've been admirers of him for a long time, but they just don't have the funds. We know that the Serie A just don't have the cash like that. They don't have the cash like that. Manchester United are interested, so it would be very interesting. Could you imagine Jackson at United? Then United lost out on Delap. Doesn't look like they're going to get Gyökeres. Doesn't look like they're going to get Osimhen. Jackson could be the striker that goes to Manchester United, which makes me laugh. But to be fair, Manchester United be very active in the transfer market with Cunha, trying to get this ongoing saga with Mbeumo. So it'll be very interesting. Unai Emery is a long-term admirer. I could see him doing well under Unai Emery. So I can't get my words out today. I can see him doing well under Emery. He gave him his debut at Villarreal, but I have a feeling if he goes and plays under Emery, Emery will play him on that left wing. Which is something every Chelsea fan's been screaming at, saying, just play Jackson left wing. That's what he is. He's a left winger, and he'll be very good at that. Ball carrying's great. Hold up play's good. Link up play's good. It's just his finishing. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. I personally think that Jackson will be sold this summer. I'm kind of in that camp now. I think like writing's on the wall. But I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Do you think we keep Jackson? Do you think no one comes in to match the valuation? Do you think Chelsea drop what they're willing to accept for Jackson? Obviously, like I said previously and multiple times in this video, hopefully it's not too much that we shoot ourselves in the foot. Bear in mind, we did buy him for £32 million. So I think 50, 60 million, well, we're cashing in on him. 60 million would be amazing, by the way, if someone comes in and buys him for 60 million. That'd be unbelievable business from Chelsea. Do you think we keep him for the next season and he is the third choice striker and Guiu goes out on loan? Or do you think that Jackson is being sold this summer to someone, whether it's Premier League or abroad, and Guiu becomes that third striker in rotation to learn on the job at Chelsea? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Fabrizio Romano has reported that Chelsea want to keep going on the market. My understanding is Chelsea are currently discussing several options for a new attacker. This is because there is concrete possibility that both Nicolas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku leave this summer. Then Chelsea are also discussing one more centre-back internally. This kind of nails it on for me. I know I just did the Jackson bit prior to this. Nails it on for me. Same with Nkunku. We spoke about this many times in the last week or so, especially over the Club World Cup. It's very interesting. Very interesting for me because he's playing like he wants to stay at Chelsea. Whether it is to raise his profile to get that move away, or whether he genuinely just wants to be at Chelsea and he's bought into the system, he's bought into the togetherness, he now feels part of the squad. Because he's been performing well when he's been doing his job when called upon. And it's the Nkunku we've wanted to see all season, we haven't seen. But now, after a couple of seasons, he's pressing. His link-up play is good. He's actually looking like he wants to be there. But if Chelsea made the decision that they want to sell Jackson and sell Nkunku, then obviously Chelsea do need to go into the market for another attacker. It'd be very interesting to see who we bring in. I'm just hoping it isn't Garnacho, if I'm being brutally honest, because we're going to talk about Garnacho in just a second. But it'd be very interesting to see who they bring in attacking-wise if both of these players go. I would love to see a Morgan Rogers to Chelsea. I think it would be unbelievable to sell someone like Jackson, to sell Nkunku and bring in a Morgan Rogers. Oh, that would be unbelievable. Serious intent. Whether we go get a Malak Fofana. Oh, be unbelievable. There are a lot of options out there for Chelsea that we can go get. And if we are selling Nkunku and Jackson, it makes perfect sense to do so. The one thing I am very, very curious about is we are discussing one more centre-back internally. I feel like a new centre-back is in need. I think it really is, just to strengthen that back four. It's been fantastic in recent months. I'm not denying that. But a new centre-back, or an experienced centre-back, or just a high-quality centre-back would just shore things up even more. Because we've got the likes of Fofana. He just can't stay fit. Then you've got Colwill, Badiashile, Tosin, Chalobah. It would just be nice to have one more just in case. And we have a full variety there. That's if we're looking to offload the Sassy and other players as well. So it'd be very interesting to know who they are looking at internally, who they're discussing internally. Is it someone like Mark Gahey? Because that looks like that's going out the window. Has he officially signed for Liverpool? I can't remember. I know they were in very good talks, or it's very close. I haven't really kept up with Liverpool's transfer news, really. But it'd be very interesting to see if we do go in for someone in that centre-back role. I'm hoping for a Jorrel Hato, because he could play central. He could play on that left-hand side. So it's good cover for Cucurella and as a centre-back when needed. I think it's much, much needed. Cucurella played over 5,000 minutes or something stupid last season. Unbelievable consistency. That guy was playing dehydrated, man. That guy got no rest. And luckily, he wasn't injured. Luckily. I think it was 1 or 2 times he was suspended for a game because of picking up a yellow cards, etc. Which we're very fortunate of, but I don't think we can go into next season taking that risk. Very much like the Caicedo Enzo risk that we took last season as well, of not really having backup, and now we have the backup of Santos, Lavia and Asugo in that role. So very curious to know your thoughts regarding which attacker would you like to see Chelsea bring in, and what centre-back would you think that Chelsea are discussing, and who would you bring in as that centre-back option? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. S. Johnson Sport has also reported that Chelsea are open to adding a wide player with a long-term interest in Alejandro Garnacho since January. Chelsea also admire Morgan Rogers. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this because we spoke about Garnacho for a very long time. I've made my point of view very, very clear. I do not want Garnacho in a Chelsea shirt. There are some Chelsea fans who see the potential, think he'd be a fantastic addition. I don't want our left-hand side next season to be Jamie Gittins and Garnacho. I just really don't. I really, really don't. João Pedro could play on the left if needed. I know we want him as a 9, but he's versatile. That's why we bought him, right? He can play as a 10, as a 9, on the right, on the left, anywhere in that front attacking side he can play. So if push comes to shove, we go Gittins and we go João Pedro. All right, please. I just don't want Garnacho. If we are going to get one of the two, please let it be Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers is an unbelievable player. Out of the two, that is who I would prefer massively. Because again, Morgan Rogers can play in any role that you need him to. He doesn't really play as a false 9, but like he could play across that front 3. And when it comes to Enzo Maresca's new tactics of how fluid that front 4 is, Morgan Rogers would fit in perfectly. So I'd much rather Morgan Rogers over Garnacho. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. I don't want to spend too much on this because I don't just want to be throwing shade at Garnacho, but out of the two, I would much rather Morgan Rogers. Very curious to know your thoughts. Sky Carver has reported that nobody running Chelsea is getting too carried away by winning the Club World Cup. The message to the player is, well done on a fantastic achievement, now enjoy your holidays and stay humble. Chelsea will now continue to work to make sure they have the best squad possible to challenge for the Premier League and Champions League next season. And TalkSport have reported a direct message from Tod Boehly in which he says, we couldn't have wished for a better outcome for our boys who have done such good work and trained so hard and really came together under Enzo's leadership and direction. No one gave us a chance to beat PSG and the boys thrived and grew on that. Watch them come together has been very special. That you have seen everything we hoped when we were getting this together with Lawrence and Paul. Begdad and I couldn't be more grateful for the success we have had for all our Chelsea fans everywhere who are so thrilled. Thank you for sticking with us. We are really excited what the future holds. Now, it's really good to end this video on such a positive note. I really like this from Tod Boehly because, again, when we change our opinions, we have to give credit where it's due and we give flowers. You guys know I'm very fair in that. I've also shared my opinions and frustrations with the board and the owners and things that needed to change. They have taken so much stick from our fans, and rightfully so. They've not got everything right. It was very hard to see the vision when we're going through all this turmoil with the change of managers and all these players that we've had to buy and sell, and it just looked like an absolute circus. It really did. But after the way the season's gone, you have to take your hats off and say fair play. They had a vision, they're seeing it through, and we are now starting to share the same vision and see the same vision. The ambitions are lining up with the fans. Champions League football. We want the Champions League and the Premier League. We want to be competing at the highest level. We have the players, we have the manager, we have the transfers, we have everything set in stone, set in place, solid foundations to really kick on next season. This really gets me up. And it's a full circle moment for this video because we spoke about Levi Colwill at the start and the mentality side of things. And we spoke about that in depth. So I'm not going to spend too much longer on the Tod Boehly message, but I really like this. And I think it's genuine from him. It's genuine. They've acknowledged the social media outrage. They've acknowledged that the protest was happening 5 months ago, which seems like a lifetime ago because of how fast things go, right? How things have changed so quickly. They've also understood that no one gave us a chance against PSG, but the boys thrived on that. They've understood that they've had the vision and it's frustrating for the fans, but they're also happy that the fans are seeing their vision now and that they're happy that we're happy. Because everyone wins. They're making money, we're winning trophies. It's incredible. It's great that Chelsea are back. And they're also sharing our ambition by saying next season, Premier League, Champions League, we want to make sure we have the strong enough squad to do that and compete on all competitions. And do you know what? Fair play. Fair play to you. So that is a very nice message from Tod Boehly, and I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you agree with what Todd is saying? Do you think it's a nice thing for him to come out and say? Do you feel like they are on the same page as fans now? Are the fans on the same page as the directors and the owners? Are the owners finally understanding what the fans want? Is it amalgamation of just time, where their vision was so far ahead of what we could see at the time that it took some time to get on their same page? Let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious to understand. There's still people that want the ownership out, fair enough. There's still people that are back in the ownership, and there's also people in the middle who are like, let's just see where this goes. They're planning things for 3 or 4 years in the future. We're now starting to come into that cycle, and things are starting to click into place. Whether or not it's ahead of schedule or not is a massive difference to what was being said in December when Maresca was like, well ahead of schedule. I was given 2 years to get into Champions League football. Now it's we want to win the lot. We're here, we're back, we're winning everything. So very curious to know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. And that's all the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.